So each time we click any of the buttons, we need to set the command. So let's create the object, OLEDB command. I'll just call it command, and I'll initialize it to null. There will be no command at the beginning. And of course we also need the adapter and table, so let's do the objects for those. So data adapter object, and I'll initialize it to the new adapter. So it's gonna be OLEDB adapter. Now the reason why I don't want the command yet, because the command changes with each of the buttons. Each time we click a button, it will be a little different. Again, we are displaying the author's name based on their first letter of the name. But the adapter and the table can be instantiated right away. So data table, and it's going to be new data table. Alright, so next we need to figure out which button was actually clicked. Obviously, when we click the button with A on it, we won't perform different action than when the button B is clicked. And which button is clicked is stored in the sender object of the whole event. So I'm going to create a new button that will be the one that was actually clicked. So clicked button, I'll just call it that, and it equals the sender, because the sender will be the button. However, sender is an object and it cannot implicitly convert it, so I have to cast it to the one I want, which is the button. So the button for the sender will be stored in the clicked button. So to find out which button was actually clicked, we can check the label or the text on the button. We can do a switch statement and check for the clicked button text. So if the text says show all records, then we know it's this button, and we'll simply display all the records. And the records are here. This is the command that we will run. This displays all the records without any limitations as far as the author's name is. So I'm also going to create another variable, a string variable, that will have the actual SQL statement. So first case, so if the label on the button says show all records, then our SQL statement will simply equal this one. No changes there. We'll display all the records. So it will equal SQL. And for everything else, for all the other buttons, so it's gonna be a default case, we'll simply use the text on the clicked button. We already know which button was clicked because we have the sender and we have it stored in our clicked button. So we can use that letter to construct the SQL statement that selects all the authors whose names start with that letter. Now the SQL statement that we are going to use is like. So let me just comment this out for a second. So we have our SQL statement over here that selects all the records and has all the where clauses, and we're gonna add another and to the where clause. So we're gonna use something like and we want the author's names, so a.author, to start with the letter from the clicked button dot text. So the statement is going to be like, so it's not gonna look for exact match but similar matches, and like allows us to use a wildcard, which is the percentage sign like this, to replace all the letters we don't care about. So we want the like, and the name that we want is to start with the letter from the clicked button dot text. So this is the letter that we want, and we want this letter to be the first letter of the author. So we are going to put that in quotes, and at the end we are going to use the wildcard to kind of simulate all the other characters after it. So if the letter is, let's say, C, it will be C and then any other letters of the name. If the letter is D, then it's gonna be D and all the other letters of the name. If you use the wildcard at the beginning as well, then it will simply check if the string contains this letter. So if the letter is B, it will check if the name has letter B anywhere in it. But if we put the wildcard only at the end, then this will be the beginning letter that has to match, and everything else is optional. So let me delete that, and we're gonna add that to our SQL statement. So SQL statement equals the SQL plus the other conditions. So it's gonna be the end for the where clause, a.author, like, and we'll use the single quote, and we'll have to construct it. We cannot just type here the clicked button, because that would not work. That would be just a string. What we want is to construct the string together like this. So we have the portion of the string, we'll start the quotes, and now we have the clicked button dot text as the letter, and then we'll construct the rest of the string, which is the percentage sign and the close of the single quote. And that is our statement. So we can now break it. Let me move that. And this should select all the authors with the letter that is on the button that was clicked.